Who can get a mortgage in the UAE?
Be either salaried, working in a company, self-employed, running a business, having multiple properties with the annual rent of $500,000 dirhams.
What about international clients, those who don't live here?
Those clients can also get a mortgage here in the UAE. If a client is a non-resident, he can apply to get a pre-approval without coming to country.
Today I've got Fahad from Hateem Mortgage. Fahad, a very warm welcome. Can you please briefly introduce yourself?
Thank you, Faisal, for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to visit AQUA Developments. So about me, I am Fahad Amir and I'm the founder of Hateem Mortgages. I used to work for banking industry for good 15 years. Banks like HSBC.
That's massive.
Banks like HSBC, Standard Chartered, Dubai Islamic Bank here in the UAE. And start of 2025, we opened a company called Hateem Mortgages, where we provide independent advice on mortgages.
Brilliant. That's a long journey, Fahad. So you must have seen all the market and ups and downs, whatever Dubai market is going through. I'm sure you're being in a mortgage, you must have come across with a lot of price variations, lowest point of the entry as well, the highest point of the entry. So who are these guys who are eligible to get a mortgage in the UAE?
See, it was very interesting time. I mean, when we started back in 2000, when I started back in 2010 as a mortgage consultant with the bank, that was one of the challenging time when 2008 was the recession. There was a recession there. So, but again, from 2010, then market started picking up in 2011, 12, 13, 14, it picked up, and then we went through a correction. Then post-COVID, the market is booming. The way Dubai and UAE, UAE government has handled this pandemic, it was a great opportunity for all of us. And
So who are these people who qualify? Who can get a mortgage in the UAE?
So mortgage is, it's like a borrowing money from a bank to buy a property here in the UAE. So when a bank is lending you money, bank wants to understand that how are you going to pay back. So you need to prove your income to them. So to prove your income, you can be either salaried, working in a company, or you could be self-employed, running a business, or you could be having multiple properties, 3 or 4 multiple properties with an annual rent of $500,000 dirhams. These are the people whom bank assess their income, and based on that, they qualify them for the mortgages.
So both salaried and self-employed, they can qualify and get a mortgage. And what sort of percentage can get a mortgage?
So if you want to get a mortgage here in the UAE, for a UAE national, you get 85% of the property value.
That's huge.
For an expat, it's like 80% of the property value. That's for the first mortgage, provided the property value is within 5 million dirham. But if it goes above 5 million dirham, then the loan to value or finance to value is reduced so it is 70% for an expat and 75% for a UAE national.
For how long these mortgages are for 20, 30 years?
So mortgages here in UAE can go up to 25 years. It can be as low as 3 or 5 years, but maximum 25 years. And age at loan maturity can be up to the age of 70 years.
Okay. And the guys who are getting mortgage, there's any minimum criteria? They have to be in the UAE for 1 year, 2 years, or they can come in and they can apply a mortgage. So let's say they come to Dubai, they get a job, and then next month they apply for a mortgage.
Yeah, so ideally the bank wants to see that you have a continuous employment. So let's say if you're working for a multinational company outside UAE, and then you moved here to UAE with just one salary and a proof of previous last 6 salaries, based on that you can get a mortgage here in the UAE.
Okay, that's
but
easy.
Ideally the bank needs to see that you have been working in the workforce for past 6 months.
Okay.
That's for a salary.
That's a minimum criteria.
That's a minimum criteria. But for a self-employed, you need to have a business of at least 1 year or more to apply for a mortgage here in the UAE.
Okay, that's for UAE residents and nationals.
UAE resident, yeah.
What about international clients? Those who they don't live here, they are abroad, they are maybe located somewhere in the UK or maybe US or maybe Europe.
So this has become very interesting now. When we started mortgages, when I was doing mortgages back in 2010-11, non-resident mortgages was not very common. But now you see a lot of non-resident who don't have resident visa here, they're outside UAE, they're buying properties here. So those clients can also get a mortgage here in the UAE. So bank again needs to see what is their income capacity. Like if they're working for a company, they need to provide their income documents, their ID copies, utility bill, if they're salaried. And if they're self-employed, then again, bank wants to see that how are they going to pay us back using their business income. So we want to see company bank statement, personal bank statement, company trade license, and the business should be like 3 years old. So those are the customers who are based outside can apply for a mortgage.
And what percentage can they get, like if they are international clients?
So for a non-resident, you can get between 60 to 65% of the property value, depending on the profile of the client.
Yeah, that's a big number.
Yeah.
And you know, we as a developer, we have a lot of off-plan projects. And can someone get a finance on off-plan projects as well, or it's only for a ready property?
So most of the transaction in mortgages are happening on ready side.
Okay.
But when it comes to off-plan, banks have started it for few major developers.
Okay.
But for other developers, I'm confident the way things are moving, we can soon see other developers also getting mortgages on their off-plan or under construction. But the thumb rule is the property should be 50% completed, and you should have paid 50% from your own savings to qualify for the mortgages. But there is another way of looking at it. Let's say if you have got a property through the developer which is off plan now, and you have got a payment plan, like I know AQUA Development, they have a very attractive payment plan where you can pay 30-40% during the construction phase, and then at the handover, when the property is ready, the developer asks you to pay that, or the developer might, like AQUA Development, have.
Yeah, most of our projects, mainly we are looking at 50% on completion. 50%. And most of these clients are international clients anyways. So that means there is a possibility that on handover, these international clients can get up to 50-60% mortgage.
Absolutely right. Yeah, they can apply and get 50-60% at handover. This is one way of doing it. The other way is if you have an existing property which you have fully paid, which does not have any mortgage on that, you can take an equity release on that and use that equity to fund the off-plan property.
Okay, so that is also a possibility.
That is also a possibility.
All right, okay. So that means your payments are then covered.
Payments are covered. And an interesting part is that you can get a mortgage up to 25 years. And in most of the cases, what I've noticed that the rentals are much higher than the monthly installment. So you have positive cash flow into your account.
Okay, that's brilliant. So even though you go up to 60, 70%, 80% of the mortgage value, you're still on positive cash flow.
Yeah, in most of the cases, especially, I've seen AQUA Development properties and few other developers, that way you can get between 7 to 10% and even some cases higher, depending on the property you're buying.
Okay, Fahad, one more point of discussion is, we have a lot of post-handover payment plans. So when it comes to handover, the buyer still have the obligation of paying for 3 years, 4 years post-handover, because this is a standard payment plan in AQUA. AQUA is well known for longer term payment plans.
Yeah.
So you can finance even those post-handover payment plans as well?
So how the bank works out is they want to release the payment in one go. They will not follow the future payment plan of the developer. Because if you already have a developer giving you a payment plan, then bank doesn't need to give you another payment plan. So you need to decide you want to follow the developer payment plan of another 3, 4 or 5 years, or you want to extend it for another 15, 20, 25 years so that you have a minimum outflow.
Okay, this is the point.
Yeah.
So we have given them 3 or 4 years, but the bank is now able to give them 10 to 15 years.
10 to 15
which
years.
Which is great. I think that gives them more flexibility to pay, and then they're linked with the bank as well. So there is no joint ownership between developer and a client. So it goes directly as a mortgage, isn't it? So that's very convenient. And Fahad, what sort of rates, profit rates or interest rates we are talking about in Dubai?
So in Dubai or in UAE, you can say a resident can get a mortgage rate starting from as low as 3.75%, can go up to 4.5%. That's for a resident. If you're a non-resident, it is between 4.5 to 6%, depending on client profile and depending on the bank we go for.
Okay. And the other question is, obviously, when in the market there are a lot more banks offering direct mortgages, and why would a customer come to a consultant or maybe a third party to obtain a mortgage? What is the benefit out of it?
Yeah, that's again a very good question. So these days, if you see, banks are overloaded with the application. So the person working in a bank, if you want to sit with them, want to make your own planning strategy, the bank advisor might not be able to give you the time that you need. The planning you need somebody who is experienced, has done this for more than 15 years. Now it's there in their DNA to guide you what is best for you. And we don't work with one or two banks. So if you go to one or two banks, they will give you their own pricing, their own product, their own process policies. But when you work with a consultant, they know this is your requirement. This is the bank. These are the top 3 banks which you should choose for in terms of pricing, in terms of process, in terms of policies. And then based on the customer requirement, we narrow down to top 3 banks and we give them our recommendation that based on your profile, based on our expertise, this is what we think is best for you. And then we leave the rest to the client to choose which one to go for.
And I'm sure there must be different offers at a time going on from different banks, and they come to one-stop shop, and then you can offer them, the best offer is from this bank or this bank.
Correct.
Well, individually to go one shop to another shop to another shop,
Correct.
I think it might take longer time.
It might take longer. And also plus point is, we don't charge any fees to our client. We are compensated by the banks.
Brilliant.
So it's a no-brainer for a client of not to use somebody who has done this for a quite long time and they know the bank process, procedures, and they can make your life easier and they can save you a lot of money because we know which bank is offering the best rate.
Okay, I understand. And when it comes to international clients, Fahad, do they need to be here in Dubai, or it can be done over emails or phone calls? Or
So if a client is a non-resident, he can apply to get a pre-approval without coming to country, get a valuation of the property without coming to the country. Same like he's not required, even if he wants to buy, I believe you don't need to be the client to be here. So for a bank, you don't need him to be here for pre-approval for bank property valuation and then even giving the final offer letter. But at the time of signing the final offer letter, the client needs to be here. This is where he will sign the offer letter in his presence. I mean, he needs to be here. Plus, he needs to open a bank account. So only once he needs to come here to complete the formalities, sign the final offer letter, and then he can leave. And he can even give a power of attorney to somebody to conclude the transaction in the lands department.
That option is also
So at least once he needs to come here because that's a requirement of the regulators.
Okay. And Fahad, when it comes to considering incomes, so the bank will consider any rental income or maybe overseas rental income as well, they will consider?
Yeah, so rental income can be considered for clients who have properties here in the UAE.
In the UAE.
Not for properties which are outside UAE.
Okay.
So what you can do is, let's say if you are salaried or self-employed, you have got X income and then you have a rental income coming from the property, you can club that and you can become eligible for a higher amount. But again, to answer your question, it's for the properties here in the UAE.
In the UAE. Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Fahad, for coming to our office and giving this deep knowledge on the mortgages. I think this gives out a lot of information to our buyers as well as a lot of people who are looking to obtain mortgages. So once again, thank you very much.
It's always a pleasure to meet you, Faisal. Thank you so
Thank
much.